Hello, everybody, and welcome to Motivation Suite. I'm so glad that you tuned in today, and I really am looking forward to today's topic area of conversation for this journey. So, again, welcome back, and for anyone new here, I am April, and I am just so glad that you found us. So, why don't we go ahead and get right into it? I want you to think back, if you can, to a time where you felt that you had a decision to make and you were at a crossroads and you weren't quite sure how things were going to unfold for you, and you probably didn't really know how to start, where to start, and really what kind of end results you maybe were even looking for. And I want you to look really hard at that example, and I want you to think about what were some of the things that you told yourself or needed in order to guide you to making those first steps. What were some of those elements that helped support that you were going to be able to get over that threshold and we're going to have some kind of victory, if not total and partial and so forth, and to accomplishing or making that decision that was so prevalent. In that, I also want you to be thinking about what were some of the consequences, whether good, bad, or indifferent, of that decision. And so when you thought about those elements, what was it that made you kind of strike out and move forward? Well, I'm here to tell you, there are some times in life, which we all know, we've all experienced, that there are moments that we come to a point where we have to pretty much pull ourselves up from our bootstraps, if you would, and make those hard decisions and make those movement forward elements to getting to some type of prosperity, some type of success in what it is that we are looking for that next element and uplift in life, right? So what I want to share today with you is some of the elements that I think are very helpful in the position of where you find yourself having to make a decision or make a decision that is very complex, and you may not always know how you're going to land in the end result of that decision. And what I call that is basically being your own hero. Because you see, sometimes that is what you have to do. You have to be able to rely on your own instincts, your own abilities, your own thought process, your own experiences in life in order to make these complex decisions for yourself. And sometimes they do put you in a position where you may affect other individuals as well. So there's always that element of complexity that's added to those decisions as well. So in the concept, or in that vein of what type of elements that it takes to be your own hero, the 5 areas that I think are most helpful in this, and there could be numerous ones, these are just 5 that I think are really nice, highlighted, easy go-tos that have a lot of impact and are authentic to yourself. Okay, so they require some action, right? They require you to know that this is something that you can achieve and something you can do. So the first of that area would be understanding that you are more than enough. That's it. You are more than enough. You have what it is that you need to do in order to get yourself to that next step. You don't need to worry about whether someone else may think of you while you are taking on that next trek in life. All you need to understand is that you have what is innately available to you to make those next steps. No one else has to be there to validate you. You learn to validate yourself because you are more than enough. If you are here and you are present, that means you have what it takes to get to that next level. Okay? I like the saying that if God brings you to it, he will get you through it. And I cannot say how many times in life, because they're numerous, and when I feel that is so true. Know that you have what you have in the ability to get through that next step. Understanding you are more than enough. Second is your mindset. You want to do a mindset shift. a mindset change. You want to move to more of a dialogue within yourself that exemplifies positivity. Now, does positivity mean, oh, full of happiness and joy, joy, joy? No, it means that you are taking the steps to look forward in moving forward and not looking back. You are looking at what are the possibilities and how can I look at this? And when you start to understand that you are more than enough, then that mindset just starts to envelop in you. It starts to come out in you. You start to look at things in a different light, and you start to see yourself in being able to make that first step. Remember, when we look at these types of complex issues that we may have to work through, it's so easy to get caught up with the end result and getting there as quickly as we possibly can. The bottom line is when you're dealing with complex situations, that's not always available to you. You just have to go through those steps. You have to go through those time frames that are important for you, because there's also lessons to be learned in that particular area of exploration, as well as you're getting through to those tasks that you need to do in order to get to that point. So making sure that you are mindset shifting to a positive, to more of an I can do instead of I can't do, more to why not me versus why me, right? You see, you get my drift? Making sure that the positivity element is starting to roll off your tongue, is starting to pretty much be what is in your mind, because that's that dialogue you're telling yourself. That is the type of conversation you are feeding yourself. You know, we are beings that are very much connected to many different things. And when you are telling yourself negative speak, you then begin to believe that negative speak. So you don't want to do that. You want to stray away from that negative post. You want to get yourself on that positive. Does not mean that you know how everything is going to end up. It just means that you understand that you have the ability, because one, you know you're more than enough. And so by you knowing that you're more than enough, it innately puts you in the position of, you know what, let's go, because I can do this. And even if it's not perfect, that's okay, because guess what? There's no such thing as perfection. But there is such thing as progress. And that's what you need to make sure that you have instilled in yourself and talking to yourself. If you've got to sit in a room to yourself and say it 5 times fast, do that. If you've got to step away, have a moment in faith, have a moment in solidarity with yourself, have a moment in meditation. You do what you need to do to focus that energy into a positive mindset. Remember, that does not necessarily mean it has to be a happy-go-lucky, oh, everything is fine, perfect thing. No, it just means that you know that you have what is inside of you will be enough to get those fires burning, so to speak, to get you to move forward, to get you to extract yourself from that negative mindset and putting yourself into more of a positive I can do versus I can't do. Okay? Thirdly, you want to be creative. You want to be courageous. I like the two together because one kind of helps to develop the other, right? When you become more creative, you're looking at, wow, all of the things that you could be doing to tackle this particular complexity of a situation. You're looking at maybe other ways that could give you some benefits out of that situation that can work towards a better end result for you. Okay. Not all life-changing decisions are always going to be easy ones. They're not always going to be ones that always may have necessarily a happy ending. But if you can get yourself into a place of being content with what the choice was and knowing that you made the best decision you could, then that says a lot. It means a lot, and it helps you to move forward in life as well. Right? So you want to be creative in the sense that sometimes you got to step yourself out of that bubble that you may feel you're in most times and look at things from a different angle, from a different perspective. Maybe you talk to your friends or your families or someone that, you know, is a trusted individual, and you can get their ideas and their thoughts about certain things. That doesn't mean you have to lay out your full plan to them, right? But maybe you might get their opinions for those that you trust that would have information for you that might be helpful in making the best decision for yourself, but still understanding that the decision is yours to make, not theirs. So you want to be able to discern for yourself what is beneficial for you to take in. And if you don't have that, that's okay. Sit within yourself. Jot things down. Make notes to yourself. Make a pros and a cons list. Look at what things will be helpful and how the impact of what your decision and what you want to do is going to be a benefit for yourself, for the issue at hand, and for individuals, whatever it is that is included in that decision making. What or whomever may be affected by the result of that decision. So you want to make sure that you are looking at those possibilities in the world of creativity, right? We are multifaceted human beings. And when you take yourself out and you step yourself out or kind of lead yourself outside of the box, it's amazing the things that you can come up with when you are understanding that you're bolstering your inside with a positive dialogue and knowing that you're more than enough to make this decision. So being creative is being able to look at different aspects that may be able to help you. Maybe the end result isn't that straight line. Maybe sometimes there's going to be some curves in that path to get to that end result. Be open to that. Be ready for that. There are some complex situations that require multi-elements of review. There's some complex situations that have multiple ways that you can get to an end. The thing is deciding on which ones is the best and more effective way to get to that end result by tackling that particular situation. So how you do it, not always what you do sometimes, but how you do it is just as important and can be essential to having the most benefit and the most positive result in completing that particular decision element and getting through that process of making that decision in the first place. Next up, you want to make sure that you are flexible. Being flexible is one of the most helpful elements when it comes to making those type of decisions and being your own hero. Understanding that not everything is going to always fit to one way or another. And also being flexible in your decisions that you are making along the way. If you are working towards a forward movement and you see that, it's not quite going the way I planned or hoped, or I'm not really getting the good vibe, it's okay to make a shift when you need to. It's okay. It's encouraged to do so. Because, if you keep going down a path that doesn't seem to be working and you're not willing to get out of that stringent mindset of thinking, you could be losing in the end. And you don't want to do that. There's sometimes many ways that you can tackle a particular element, and it's okay to change course when you need to. And being flexible allows you to do that. Being flexible also allows you to continue with being creative in your thought process, because you're constantly having to think of different ways to tackle a situation. Or maybe you're not thinking of whole different way of handling it. Maybe you're looking at how you can tweak certain aspects to make it even more of a benefit or more of a positive recourse in that decision. So making sure that being flexible is always a positive thing. And it sometimes can kind of get you off the hook of feeling like you've got to be only one way. And that's okay. And being flexible can keep your motivation going. It can keep your inspiration going. It allows you to always remember why you are doing this in the first place. Sometimes we come to decisions that we have a choice that we can make. And sometimes we come to decisions that we don't have a choice to make. So we need to make sure that being flexible is part of our being, our essence. Is just what you do. Sometimes you have to go through things that only have a point 1, point 2, point 3 mentality, and there's no wiggle room in that. But that's not always the case. And more times than not, you need to be able to think outside of maybe even yourself when you are looking at how to tackle and address these issues. So being flexible allows you to make those necessary changes and moves when you need to, okay? And just being open to the possibility of new things that may come up, because as we always say, it's not always a destination, it's also the journey. So get ready to embrace that concept. Next up would be adaptability. Now, adaptability is one in which you want to understand that you may have to change course, even sometimes when you don't want to. And it may look on the offset that, oh, this is a little bit difficult to keep moving forward. I've been trying to make some changes and it's just maybe not going to move forward in the way I think I like it for this particular piece of this decision. So, what am I going to do here with this? I got to get to that next level, and maybe there's more prosperity on that next level, but I got to get through this piece here, and I don't have as much control to change that. So being adaptable to what is going on around you is also a necessary component in decision making. Sometimes you don't always have a choice in every aspect of a decision, right? I mean, come on, if that was the case, life would be so much easier for everyone. The bottom line is it's just not the case. So when you are fortunate to be able to make a solid decision that doesn't affect anyone or anything else but you, and it doesn't require you to have to engage in any other aspect to make that decision, that's wonderful. That's great. It's what makes the world go round. The bottom line is, if you're dealing with complex issues and situations that require more care and have more impact, sometimes just have more impact in the fact that other people are going to somehow be affected by that decision, being able to know that you can be adaptable can move you through those difficult elements. Okay, it doesn't mean you have to surrender full on, right? But there may be sometimes that you do. Sometimes you just have, things are just what they are, and you've got to move forward. So you look at what's the best way, and being able to adapt to that and make that adaptability and change, you're going to be able to persevere through that and get to the next element, right? Journeys are got highs and lows, ups and downs. This is how it goes. Some things are straight, most things are not. So being adaptable to those elements are extremely important and are very helpful in keeping up your levels of inspiration and motivation. And always, just like your flexibility element, remembering your why, right? Remembering why you're doing this, remembering what is at stake if you do or don't make that decision. So all of those elements are so important, but adaptability is one that helps you shift through things in a way when you may not be able to have the control as well. And it just goes hand in hand with the concept of flexibility. So again, for when you're faced with a situation and have to be your own hero, you have to save yourself, so to speak, having these kind of components to help that, I think, are just really great highlighted fast, easy ways to pull through to get you to that next step. So definitely always remember that you are most definitely more than enough. If you were brought to this decision, then you can get through this decision. So be ready for that. Understand that you have what it takes innately to do these things. You have what it takes. Don't get so caught up always on the very end result. Get yourself to that first step, and then that first step needs the next step. Nextly, again, you want to go through your mindset change. When you understand that you are more than enough, that mindset change starts to click in. You want to make sure you are doing the positive speak, the positive dialogue, the I can versus I can't, the I will versus maybe, right? You can do it because you are more than enough. Be creative and courageous, okay? Be creative in being able to look at those different elements and look at things for possibilities. Be open to those things and be courageous in moving forward in those elements. If you make a mistake, it's okay. It's all right. Life is not perfect. It's messy sometimes. You just pick yourself back up and you keep moving forward. Make that adjustment when need be, which brings me back to flexibility. Be ready to make the changes necessary in order to get to that next step. Make sure that you are looking at things from the possibility that you may have to make those flexible adjustments, and just be ready to do so. And lastly, you want to make sure that you remain in the ability of adaptability. Make sure that you are able to shift when needs to be able to shift. That's how we move through life. Even if you're thinking about it in that conscious level or not, a lot of us do more adaptability than we may even realize. And that's important key elements in order to be your own hero, to have in you what you need to be your own hero. Because remember, if you think of nothing else after today's session, understand that you have innately what is needed in you to be your own hero. Now, I would love to know what you think about that concept, about being your own hero. I would love to know what type of abilities or elements or components do you think helps provide that possibility, that ability, I should say, not inability, ability for effectiveness in being your own hero. I would love to know about that. So drop me a comment down below. I'm sure others would love to know that as well. It's great to be able to share those types of information because you never know who that might help. Well, everybody, I think that about does it for today. I am so glad that you were able to join me, and I am so looking forward to seeing you guys again next week. So I do hope that you have a lovely rest of the week. Remember, you have what you need to save yourself. Be your own hero. Do those things, make those changes that are necessary. You will be able to do it. It is in you to do so. So I again hope that you have a great, productive rest of the week. I hope you enjoy your weekend, and I'm so looking forward to seeing you next week. Until then, take care, be safe. Bye.